welcome back to this randomized Emerald and Nuzlocke. This is actually part 2. If you did not know this was part 2, because you didn't watch part 1. And if you want to watch that, and you should, it's in the link. It's the link in the description below. If you don't want to waste 38 minutes of your life watching it, I will just tell you in a very short recap. I beat the first 4 gyms, and that's it. If you want a more detailed description, you can just go ahead and watch the video or skim through it, see if I care. But I will say that the rules are simple. Nuzlocke encounter rules, set battle mode, no items in battle, and name every Pokemon like it were your child, and probably one more that I'm forgetting. But let's move on to the run. We start this where we left off the last one, confused and irritated. But once I remembered I needed to go back to Peelberg for the 5th gym, Norman. Once there, I went ahead and battled all the gym trainers, and just went ahead and started the gym battle because I was tired of grinding. Because at this point, I had not used rare candies. My dad, Norman, sends out Dustox. I send out Backward the Coughing. I try to use Glare with Backward, who is, I believe, a healthy 5 levels lower than Dustox. Okay. Oh no. I bring in French Magnitude and kill the Dustox. Next was an Ammonite that I killed with another Magnitude. His ace, a Seadra, which I Magnitude once and then twice. It heals with a Citrus Berry. I switch into Lantern, Spark, and then kill Seadra. I forgot what it was called. Final Pokemon was Ekans. I stay in with Lantern, Water Gun, and wash away the Ekans, getting my 5th gym badge. That was fast. From here, Wally's dad gives me Surf, and I go ahead and surf all the way back to Mauville. But on the way there, I get to catch 3 Pokemon because these are routes that I had not had access to because I was riding on a guy's boat, and he was going so fast I could not fish. I also wanted to go back to Mauville, not only because that's how you get to Fort Tree City, but also because I wanted to go to the game corner and get the TM for Psychic for Lantern. After gambling for a bit too long, I realized that it was kind of pointless. It was pointless because all the TMs are randomized, and the one that should have been Psychic was actually Bind. So, but on the way there to pick up Psychic, which wasn't actually Psychic, I had captured a Hitmonchan, a Primeape, and a Houndoom, I believe. 3 really pretty good encounters. When I got to the casino, the game corner, not casino, and I got Bind and didn't realize it was Bind, I reloaded my save thinking I had saved before I entered the game corner, right? My last save was in Peelberg, but after the gym, so I had to resurf there, and I lost all my encounters that I was excited about, which was awesome. My first new encounter was a Nose Pass, and in my rage, I washed it away with Surf. My second encounter was an Ammonite. I did catch it and named it No! Finally, it was a Pidgeotto that I killed on accident, not on purpose. Once I reach Mauville, Watson tells me about New Mauville, the thing he's been working on, and how it's going haywire, I think. I don't know, never really paid attention. He gives me the key. I head down there. While I'm there, I find a Slowking that I name Awesome, all lowercase, and then I turn off the generator and leave. You may remember I caught a Cradilly on Route 118. I assumed after you cross that river or whatever you call that between Mauville and Fort Tree, I assumed that was a new route, so I caught an Altaria that I named Alright. Looking back, I realized that it was not a new route, and I actually just cheated. And I got 2 Pokemon on the same route. Can't really do much about it. Sorry to all the purists out there that I cheated. I don't care. Moving on. In the tall grass, I catch my next Pokemon, Hitmontop. I name it Spin Cycle. After beating a bunch of Pokemon, I head to the Weather Institute to fight Team Aqua. 2 on the first floor go down, no trouble. Then 3 more on the next floor also go down, very little trouble. And next was the admin, Shelly. Shelly leads with a Wailord. I lead with Spin Cycle, get an Intimidate drop on the Wailord. I switch into Lantern, Spark twice, and it dies. The final Pokemon is Kingdra. I stay in with Lantern and use Spark. It does a little bit of chip damage. I get leered in return. On the next turn, Lantern uses Confuse Ray, and then the Kingdra breaks through confusion, hits a Water Gun that of course crits. And then I finally kill it with another spark, but that was very annoying, and that will happen a lot. Spoilers. As a thanks for saving them, the science nerds gift me a Tentacruel. Tentacle does come with a Mystic Water, which I do give to Lantern because it boosts water type moves if you don't know. And with that, I leave and head across the bridge, only for May to hound me down and challenge me into another battle. She led with a Shedinja that gave me a bit of a heart attack, but I switch into Groudon eventually and use Ancient Power, killing the Shedinja. And then won Weedle and Tyranitar later, and May was defeated. I make it to Fortress City, and once I get to Route 120, just past Fortress City, I catch a Wynaut that I named Demon for obvious reasons. I then give Demon some experience, and it evolves into a Poochyena, which is awesome. I then continue to move further into Route 120 when I run into a Pokemon Ranger that has a Regirock on his team. I switch out of Spin Cycle into Oopsie, and then the Reggie sets up a curse. I Mudshot on the next turn, don't kill it, and then it sets up another curse. I Mudshot again, and it curses again. And then it uses Explosion and kills Oopsie. At the end of the day, I don't know what I would have done differently, because the whole time I was thinking, there is no way anyone else could survive this. To be fair, I probably could have sacrificed Demon, but for all I know, it would have pressed Superpower 4 times. I don't know. And it was a tough hit for the team. I was silent for several minutes afterward because I was just shocked and appalled. So, yeah, that was really sad. To lose my starter. After this battle, Demon evolves once again, and for the last time, as it evolves into a Torkoal, which is huge because Torkoal actually learns Flamethrower. On Route 121, I grab him a Chop and name it Me Stronk, and then after being kicked out of the Safari Zone for not having a Pokeblock case, I head to Lily Cove and get a Pokeblock case. I then go back to the Safari Zone and fail my encounter, which was a Gloom, because it ran away after I tried to creep up on it. Should have just thrown a ball, but I didn't. I've learned my lesson. After all this, I march back to Fortress City, heal my Pokemon, and then head into the gym, beat all the gym trainers, and then I challenge Winona to a battle. Her first Pokemon is a Rayquaza. Which is surprisingly fitting. I switched into Lantern from Spin Cycle. Rayquaza uses Ancient Power, does not get an Omniboost, but does get a crit. So that's awesome. I Spark with Lantern, dealing pitiful damage, and it uses Scary Face, lowering my speed, making me even slower. After barely surviving a Dragon Claw, I Confuse Ray, and then shift into scanning on my next turn. Of course, the Rayquaza breaks through its confusion, uses Twister on scanning, and deals very little damage. Next turn, it breaks through again and uses Dragon Claw, dealing a little bit more damage. I try to put it to sleep with Hypnosis for some reason, and of course miss. Finally, the Rayquaza hurts itself in its confusion, and I miss another Hypnosis. It breaks through another confusion and uses Ancient Power again, not getting the Omni Boost, but still dealing more damage. But I finally use Metal Claw and bring it down to half health. Next turn, Ray finally breaks out of confusion, not like it was bothering it, and then hits another Ancient Power, not getting the Omni Boost, but I kill with a Metal Claw. Next was an Amistar. I switch into French as Amistar sets up a Withdraw. I Magnitude and get a 4. I barely deal any damage, and it withdraws again. Another Magnitude later, and I deal no damage again. After a Mudshot from the Amistar, French's speed was lowered, making it slower than Amistar. One Water Gun later, and French hits a Magnitude 9, bringing Amistar to 1 HP. I Magnitude, but Winona decides to use a Hyper Potion, undoing all of the damage. This goes on for several minutes until I finally kill the Amistar with a Magnitude. Kabuto comes out and is faster and deals a lot of damage with Absorb. I try to kill with a Magnitude, but it doesn't. Because why would it? This is also the ace, so it eats a berry and heals a little bit. For some stupid reason, this is stupid, I switch into Demon, planning to Flamethrower. I get hit in return by a crit Mudshot, dealing over half damage. My Flamethrower barely deals 5 damage, so I'm really glad I did that. Really thought that one through. I switch in Spin Cycle. He takes a Mudshot. Guess what? Drops his speed. Guess what? It also crits. Take a Sand Attack and of course then miss my triple kick. Next turn, I miss another one. Then I hit only one of the 3 triple kicks. However, I Quick Attack and finally kill it. The next Pokemon is Octillery. I look into my Pokemon and see that they're all low health, and that I am probably screwed. I felt like my run was going to end. I triple kick, and of course only hit 1. The Octillery uses Psybeam and brings Spin Cycle down to 1 HP. I switch into Newborn with a plan to paralyze it, but I get hit and get dealt over half damage, and then on the next turn die to an Aurora Beam. So I switch into Lantern, who is thankfully faster than the Octillery. I use Spark, which deals a big chunk of damage and also gets the paralysis. It then makes the Octillery immobile on that turn. So I hit another Spark because I'm faster, killing the Octillery. Praise be Arceus. Final Pokemon was a Parasect. I switched into Scanning, who takes a Stun Spore, but it doesn't matter. 3 Metal Claws later, and it was dead. I had beat the gym despite the odds. Once I recovered from my heart attack, I headed up to Mount Pyre, where I caught a Houndour. Just kidding, it used Roar turn 1 and ended the encounter. I did not catch it. So I go through the tower, and in the tower, I run into Hexmaniac Tasha. They had 1 Pokemon. Why not? Of course, I was leading Spin Cycle, and you can probably guess what happened. It had Shadow Tag. I used a variety of moves, and by the end of the battle, I used Quick Attack, bringing the Wynot down to maybe 1 HP, and then it hit counter and killed Spin Cycle. After finishing up the inside cemetery, I ascended the mountain, and while grave robbing, I found the leftovers item, which is very useful. I give to Scanning because it makes him an even bulkier sweeper. Once I defeated all the Team Aqua grunts, I scared away Archie. I head back to Mount Chimney to find the well-hidden Team Magma base, because this is now that part. Here, I catch a Shedinja, I name it Gimmick, and after that, I leave, heading back to Lily Cove to battle May, who was blocking the mall. May's first 2 Pokemon fall like sacks of potatoes, but the next was a Weezing. I thought Demon the Torkoal would be able to kill it with a flamethrower. I was wrong. It then died to a self-destruct from the Weezing. By the way, why are there 2 separate moves for blowing yourself up? At least in this generation, you have self-destruct and then you have explosion. Like, why do we need both of them? They do the exact same thing. Her next Pokemon was a Ninjask. Alright, killed it with a fly. So I go inside to the mall. I go up to the TM desk and find all the TMs are garbage. But before I leave, I buy Pokeballs, repels, and escape ropes because I'm going into a cave. I also grabbed Screamo from the PC. From here on, I begin to use rare candies that I definitely legitimately acquired and use those to level up my Pokemon. After leveling up my team to Maxie's Ace, I head back into the hideout and clear some very difficult puzzles. But before I could get to Maxie, Tabitha challenged me once again. I beat her without any trouble, and then move on to Maxie. He decides to use the orb on Groudon, the blue one that is, and Groudon Superman flies out of the cave and leaving Maxie to say, why? Why did he do that? And then challenges me to a battle. After easily defeating most of his team, he sends out a Tangela, which paralyzes several Pokemon on my team, but I finally kill it, and he runs away like a big baby. Now with Team Magma in shambles for real this time, I head to Slateport to see Team Aqua stealing a submarine. I head to Lily Cove because I just knew that's where they were, and then do a really cool surf maneuver, surf into their headquarters, and battle through a bunch of grunts. Once I battled through all of the grunts, I find Team Aqua admin Matt, which is a very boring name. His only 2 Pokemon were a Survivor and a Combusken. I beat both of them and move on. I go ahead and leave and head on to Moss Deep City, where the next to the last gym is, home of Tate and Liza. I surf onto Route 124 all cool like and find an Armaldo. Not an armadillo, an Armaldo. I catch it and name it Stonehead. Once I get to Moss Deep, I fish off the coast and catch an Umbreon, which I name Moontrotter, and then question why Moontrotter sounded so familiar. It's Globetrotter. It's the basketball. Not even a basketball team. They're just a basketball. What are they? I named it Moontrotter, and it knows Helping Hand already, which was huge, especially going into the double battle gym. As I battled through the gym trainers, I tested out a strategy of Helping Hand Slash with Scanning and Moontrotter. It of course worked well. And I also did Lantern and Moontrotter and used Surf Helping Hand, which did huge damage as well, especially with Mystic Water buff. which was awesome. And after testing all that, I was ready to take on the gym leader after using those legitimately obtained rare candies. But before I challenged the gym, Screamo, who I had put on the team earlier, evolved into a Celebi, which, by the way, has a terrible sprite in the Pokemon menu. It looks terrible. Just saying. I don't know if anyone's ever looked at that. It's bad. Tate and Liza lead Trico in Seeking. I stick to the tried and true Moontrotter in Scanning. At the end of the first turn, Seeking hits a crit waterfall through Confusion, bringing Scanning below half health, but with leftovers, it heals back to above half. The Seeking goes down after 2 turns of Helping Hand boost its slashes. The next Pokemon that come out is a Weedle. After the Seeking went down, it was over. I beat the Trico, and then a Marshtomp came out who used Protect a little bit too much, but it was basically over. I didn't lose anyone, they lost everything. After getting my second to last gym badge, I headed to the Moss Deep Space Center, where a bunch of Team Magma members decided, you know what? If Groudon's not going to help us turn everything into land, we're going to jettison a bunch of jet fuel into a volcano. I beat all the grunts and then beat some more grunts. I find Steven, who's already fighting Tabitha and Maxie, and then we beat Maxie and Tabitha. It was a fight that I was a little bit more nervous about, but it wasn't that bad. But I mean, that's kind of how the cookie crumbles in randomizers. Sometimes you'll get gym leaders that just have nothing but legendaries, and sometimes you'll get evil team leaders who have Weedles, Marshtomp, lots of Marshtomps, by the way, and other small Pokemon. Anyways, after this, I need to head to Sootopolis. But before I go to Sootopolis, I go to Team Aqua's hideout, which is near Sootopolis. While on the way there, I find a Tangela floating in the ocean that I name Vine, after the long-lost social media platform. On Route 125, I find a Blossom that I name Rosehead because there's flowers on its head. Fun fact. On Route 128, I find a Chimecho and named it Doorbell. On Route 129, I find a Suicune, and I don't catch it after it breaks out of 15 Ultra Balls without shaking once. Anyways, I dive into the Team Aqua hideout and find a Kabutops that I accidentally kill. Bit of a theme for me. I end up in a very foggy room with an oversized Magikarp and a very small puddle of water. When I go to examine the Magikarp, Archie comes out of nowhere and then uses the Red Orb and makes the Magikarp very mad. And by the way, it's not a Magikarp, it's a Kyogre. Archie then jumps me and tries to battle me afterwards because he's angry, I guess. I use Lantern and beat his team. After the battle, he flashes the orb. The big Magikarp, also known as Kyogre, decides to also jump out like Superman and flies to Sootopolis. It begins to rain, and Maxie shows up and says, "Archie, what are you doing?" And plays the victim, not like he was just trying to jettison jet fuel into a volcano not 10 minutes ago. I now head to Sootopolis for real this time, and I see a super cool cutscene of them fighting, which is not ruined by the very pink rectangles of rain that happened when I surf. I don't know why. Moving on. I go into Sootopolis, I talk to Steven, who takes me to the Cave of Origin. In the Cave of Origin, I find a Crawdaunt that I, of course, accidentally kill. And then I find Wallace at the bottom of the tunnel in another very foggy room for some reason. He talks to me and asks me, "Where do you think Rayquaza is?" I tell him Winona's gym in Fort Tree City. He says, "I don't think that's right." So I tell him the Sky Tower, and he says, "That seems right. You should go head over there." So I do that. I find Fort Tree City in Pacifilage Town and go there. On Route 130, I find an Ariados that I named Joker. A little confused, I surf onto Route 132 and catch a Carvana that I named Dual Hawk, because with its little thorns on its back, it looks like it has 2 mohawks. But after a while, I finally figure out where I'm going, and I head into the Sky Tower. Wallace is there and tells me, and he's like, "Okay, let's do this together." We head to the front door. It begins to rain a little bit, and he says, "I gotta get back to Sootopolis." So I had to do it myself. While going through the Sky Tower, I find a Heracross that I catch and name Front Loader. Once I reach the peak, I see Rayquaza. They must have escaped from Winona's gym because I really thought he was in Fort Tree City. Anyways, I wake it up and send it to Sootopolis and see another really awesome cutscene. This time, not ruined by the weird purple rectangular rain. Once this was done, I solved the ice floor puzzle without any problems. I lead with Scanning, and Juan leads with Sunflora, the leader of the 8th gym. and I proceed to sword dance 3 times because Sunflora cannot do anything against me. I then use Slash and then sweep the gym with 1 Pokemon. Now all that's left between me and the champion is the Elite Four, and the team was ready. Scanning the Scizor, French the Whiscash, Mistronk the Nuzleaf, Moontrotter the Umbreon, Alright the Altaria, and Lantern the Starmie. I march into Victory Road, and my first encounter is a fortress. It explodes after I switch into Lantern, which of course crits and kills Lantern. So anyways, I put Lantern back in the PC, cry a little bit, and then put the Mystic Water on Dual Hawk, who I level up, and he turns into a Kyogre, which is pretty awesome. This is probably a good time to say that I hate Victory Road. It's just a bunch of trainers and a bunch of random encounters, and it's very confusing. And you need literally every single HM. So you can't even have a full team of Pokemon. You have to have 1 HM slave you have to carry along with you to strength everything out of the way, Rock Smash. When I literally have like a Machoke with me, or a Machamp. It's like Machamp could break a rock, but no, I have to carry around Bidoof here so he can use Rock Smash. Makes so much sense. I love. Thank you, Game Freak. Does anyone like Victory Road? No, they're lying. I hit back into Victory Road and realize that Wally does not show up at the end, and Emerald actually shows up at the beginning, which was a shock to me because I always knew him to show up at the end. But I beat him like nothing happened. Continue through until I run into cool trainer Owen, who sends out and Regice, another Reggie. Thank God. I switch into French, I watch it set up a curse. I get flashbacks. I hit an earthquake, but it deals not a lot of damage. It continues to curse. Predicting an explosion, I switch into Mistronk. After hitting a couple earthquakes and bringing it into the red, I switch into Mistronk, predicting an explosion, because that seems to be when these things explode. Instead, Owen decides to use a full restore, undoing all the damage I did, and now I have Mistronk out there to, well, die the next turn to a superpower. I bring back French, get a crit earthquake after a few earthquakes and kill it. It's fine. Then it was Xatu that died to an ice beam from Dual Hawk the Kyogre. Using Mistronk's corpse, I continued to push through Victory Road until I finally reach Evergrande City, which I guess I was already in, but now I'm really in Evergrande City. Once in the league's waiting room, I think, I go ahead and level up the team a little bit and select my last Pokemon. Since Mistronk was dead and I wasn't planning on using it in the Elite Four anyway, I now had an empty slot in the team. After a bunch of deliberation, I decided to pick Front Loader, the Heracross, just because, I don't know, I thought the fighting type would be useful. I also thought about Chimecho, but I didn't pick Chimecho. So I level up the team, show off my badge collection to the guards, and they're like, that's pretty awesome. And they let me through. My team, I have Dual Hawk the Kyogre, Moontrotter the Umbreon, French the Whiscash, Scanning the Scizor, Alright the Altaria, and then Front Loader the Heracross. I march in, and the first one is Sydney. I lead with Dual Hawk thinking that the rain would help me. He leads with a Marshtomp, and I decide to switch to Scanning. Marshtomp protects, and Scanning uses Swords Dance. After a second Swords Dance, Marshtomp uses Muddy Water, dropping Scanning's accuracy. Marshtomp protects again, wasting my turn as I used Slash, and it of course misses. I Slash again the next turn, and of course miss, and then take another Muddy Water, dealing more damage. After several turns of this, I finally kill the Marshtomp with a Slash, leading to the next, which was a Vulpix. I use Slash and get another crit, and it dies. Third Pokemon was a Blaziken. I switch into Dual Hawk, who gets hit with a Blaze Kick, tanks it very well, but does get burned, because why wouldn't it? But I kill it with the Surf on the next turn. Next was a Chinchou. I switch to French and immediately take a Confuse Ray. I switch out into Moontrotter and hit it with my own Confuse Ray. Chinchou breaks through the confusion and hits a Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump is 85 accuracy, by the way. It hit through that. It hit every single Hydro Pump, spoiler. Not a joke, it hit every single one. But Moontrotter takes the hit and uses Confuse Ray, confusing the Chinchou. The Chinchou hurts itself, and I switch back into French. Luckily, the Chinchou hurts itself again, but on the next turn, I Fat Finger and use Waterfall. It didn't kill it. It went down to the red. It snaps out of confusion and hits a hydro pump. I switch back into Moontrotter and Cindy uses a full restore, healing Chinchou. After several more annoying turns, I switched to French and pressed the right move and killed Chinchou. His final Pokemon was a Vibrava. I used Waterfall and kill it. The next member was Phoebe. She led Machop, and this time I led Scanning, learning my lesson from the last battle. I Swords Dance, then Swords Dance again. It hits a cross chop, deals quite a bit of damage. I get 2 Swords Dances up and begin to sweep. I use Slash and kill the Machop. Her next Pokemon was a Regice. I Swords Dance again, get up to +6. After the Regice hits a Zap Cannon and paralyzes, but I kill with a Slash. The next Pokemon was a Rapidash. I switch out into Dual Hawk and wash it away. Then Ice Beamed a Lotad and washed away a Kirlia. That's the second member down. Third member was Glacia. Her first Pokemon was a Nuzleaf. Scanning again sets up his 2 Swords Dances and goes to work, killing the Nuzleaf. Her next Pokemon was a Typhlosion. Okay, now listen. I know, in my head, which I know I've probably said a lot, I was thinking I'm going to switch. Because at this point, the only fire type that I've killed with Scanning was a Vulpix. Because it was a Vulpix. But when I saw the Rapidash, I switched. When I saw the Blaziken, I switched. But when I saw the Typhlosion, I was like, wouldn't it be cool if Scanning could sweep one entire Elite Four member? Wouldn't that be cool? So, in my stupidity, I press Slash. The Typhlosion, of course, outspeeds and hits a Flame Wheel. Doesn't even need to crit because it's 4 times super effective and it kills Scanning. And when I tell you I was punching myself up until the champion, I was punching myself up until the champion because I just felt incredibly bad. Because this one really felt like it was my fault. Like, yeah, counters, Shadow Tag, I can't, what do you want me to do? You know? Explosion, what do you mean to do? But that was very much my bad, you know? I bring in Dual Hawk, Surf, and kill the worst starter. I kill one of the worst starters, all 3 of them suck ass, they're boring. Next was a Dustox. I set up a Calm Mind and kill it on the next turn with a Surf. Then Articuno, it died to 2 Surfs. Next was a Gengar. I switched to Moontrotter and Feint Attack a couple 100 times and the Gengar dies. Don't know why I didn't just Surf, because I think it would have killed it. Anyway, Glacia was defeated, 3 Elite Four members down, leaving Drake as the final member. Drake led with a Skiploom. I led with Alright. I used Dragon Dance on the first turn, and then used Fly, killing the Skiploom. The next Pokemon was a Lugia. I switched into Moontrotter and used Confuse Ray. It, of course, uses Safeguard the exact same turn and nullifies the effects. It then uses Hydro Pump and, you guessed it, hits. Anyways, it uses Hydro Pump. Moontrotter uses Screech to lower its defenses. After several turns of head scratching and Moonlight to try and heal off the Hydro Pump damage Moontrotter was taking, I switched back into Dual Hawk and take up Hydro Pump, set up a Calm Mind, and then Ice Beam, killing the worst box Legendary because it's a stupid bird. Next was Mr. Mime, and it died to a Surf. A Golduck came out next. I switched into Moontrotter and Confuse Ray before switching again into French. French uses Earthquake twice and kills the Golduck. Next and final Pokemon was a Crobat. I shift into Dual Hawk, Ice Beam, and kill the Crobat in 1 turn, meaning that the only thing left in my way was the champion. Wallace was the only thing between me and the ultimate victory. I was going to avenge all the Pokemon who died to a stupid exploding baby Pokemon, to the stupid why-nots who couldn't stop pressing Counter and Mirror Coat, to the Reggies who kept pressing Curse and making it a pain to kill them, to the stupid bird Lugia that thought it would be funny to hit every single Hydro Pump. I knew I had to beat Wallace to avenge them and to become the champion of Hoenn. I marched up the stairs and busted down the door to find Wallace standing there in his stupid outfit. After he talked to me about dancing and whatever, I challenged him to a battle. Wallace led with a bag on. I switched out from All Right into Dual Hawk and used Calm Mind, and of course I took a crit takedown that brings Dual Hawk down to below half, but my Ice Beam also crits and kills the bag on. Next was Kabuto that died to a Surf, but dealt big damage to Dual Hawk with an Absorb, bringing it down to 36 HP. His next Pokemon was a Ludicolo. I switched into All Right and tanked an Absorb. As Ludicolo used Astonished, I used Dragon Dance and of course flinched. Finally, I do land a Dragon Dance after then use Fly and Kill. His next Pokemon was Coughing. I decided to just use Fly, thinking maybe I can get some big damage off on this Pokemon. The Coughing then uses Haze while I'm in the air, and once I land, I deal some pretty good damage, but it uses Explosion and kills All Right and itself. I brought in Moontrotter, and Wallace brought in Magby. On the first turn, Magby outsped Moontrotter and used Sunny Day, and Moontrotter misses a Screech, which was awesome. Great time to do that. Next turn, the Magby uses Fire Blast and deals a huge chunk of damage to Moontrotter. This time, the Screech lands, and I switch into French to tank another Fire Blast. The next turn, French is slower and tanks another Fire Blast, but kills with an Earthquake, bringing Wallace down to his final Pokemon. Oh, please. Yes! Yes! Despite the hardships, the explosions, the counters, the stupid choices, I finally did it. I beat the champion and completed my randomized Emerald Nuzlocke. All Right the Altaria, Moontrotter the Umbreon, Dual Hawk the Kyogre, French the Whiscash, Frontloader the Heracross, and Scanning the Scizor. Together, we beat the Elite Four and the champion. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and goodbye.